So as promised, kind of a vocab lesson here as it relates to DNS zones, and as well as a pretty big if-then statement in terms of what kinds of different zones you should create and the different configurations you should apply. To that end, what have we talked about in this module? We've talked about configuring primary and secondary zones. Useful when I need to add additional name resolution or add high availability to the existing name resolution that I have. We talked about those zone transfer settings and how this is a way that we can set permissions on which machines should be able to receive the entire contents of a zone. We configured notify settings, which are a part of zone transfer settings, to ensure that our secondaries get the most appropriate updates and don't end up with orphaned content. We went through zone delegation and how for subzones in an existing infrastructure, you could just simply point yourself to some other machine in order to resolve a request that they may have information on. Same thing with conditional forwarders, commonly used in multi-forest configurations. I need to access information on some other DNS server. Well, based off of what that server is and the requests coming in, that's the server that you need to ask. We spent a minute talking about where we store the data, whether it be in files or whether it be in Active Directory, and concluded with a look here at stub zones, which are another way that we can ensure all the different authoritative servers for a zone are populated here on our local DNS server so that we can correctly reroute requests. Coming up next, we'll continue this discussion on DNS, focusing not on the zones, but the records inside those zones. In that discussion, we'll review the large number of different record types that now exist in DNS, including A, quadruple A, PTR, SRV records, MX records, and all the ones in between you'll need to know as you go through configuring these things for your Active Directory environment. We'll turn on zone scavenging and aging, which honestly is one of the #1 configurations of DNS that gets most commonly forgotten about. We'll talk about the different record options like time to live values and waits. We'll configure some round robin settings and also how to turn on secure dynamic updates for the records that we have. This continuation of our discussion here on DNS is the topic for our next module coming up.